Hey, everybody. My name is Abby McEnany. I'm a co-creator, co-writer, co-producer, and the lead of Work in Progress. I'm really happy and honored to be here today with my dear friend.
Hi, my name's Lilly Wachowski. I'm a writer and producer on a television show called Work in Progress. And I don't know if I'm excited to be anywhere anymore, but here we are. We are still, in the words of Miss Major, I'm still fucking here. So
I think Lily and I have been talking, and like we don't know what we're gonna say. The world is horrible right now. It's sometimes a struggle to find hope for me personally, and but I'm showing up today because I want to represent those who don't feel seen, who feel isolated and afraid. Tears are starting. And just say you are worthy of love and acceptance, and I hope that you are able to find support. You're worthwhile. And just wanted to say that to start.
yeah, I wasn't sure I wanted to be here for this. And, Abby told me that she wanted to do it because she wanted to be seen and to, queers and, trans people and queer people and GNC people, we rely on community. It's like, it's so important to gather into groups, and because we a lot of us, that's where we find our family, and so we know how isolating it is right now, and there's just, on top of just what's happening with the coronavirus, I feel like that part is important, and it's important to be able to connect in any way possible. I feel like this particular time, and there's a human rights struggle that's going on right now that is, in my opinion, it's like we're hand in hand with queer liberation and trans liberation and Black liberation. We just have to, it's something we just have to keep pushing our shoulder to the wheel of progress, because I don't know, something's got to change. We can't do this. We've seen this, the way that this world has existed for the past 200 years, and it's broken and it does not work. And we have to do what we can and show up for each other to make change. We have to stop being so lazy. White people have to stop being so lazy. We have to all participate in this. I have to stop being lazy. And so, as somebody who was like queer and closeted for so long, I just reached a breaking point for myself and had to come out. And yeah, I don't know.
Yep.
That's why I paint ducks like this back here. There has to be some kind of ray of hope in the everlasting night and lakes of blood and fire and lava that we all live every single day. And so this painting is actually outside my bedroom, and I see it when I wake up every morning to remind myself, no matter how shitty the world is, that you have to like keep hope. keep hoping for each other and being each other's light for each other. And yeah, so
Yeah. I I would make a swipe. I think I would edit a little, like I didn't want to do this to be seen. But I wanted to do this to see others. I would say, okay. But I think that, I think I I didn't want to be on here and just be all doom and gloom, which is how I felt many hours of every day. Because but I understand if that's where you are. As somebody who struggles mental illness, and I'm not ashamed of that. And I hope those who struggle aren't ashamed of that either. Sometimes it can be hard to find hope, and it's with community and however you find that, and what Lily was saying about how there's something about gathering with other queers that is affirming, and it's like finding family, uh, and it's safety. And then we are unable to gather, and so the way I'm getting through the day is I get to see my dear friend Lily every day, and work and try to create something that tells a story that we can get through anything, even though at times this old bitch doesn't always believe it. But yeah, and I think that's right. Like white people have to stop being so lazy, and I think a lot of that is to not be afraid to try, and like it you're gonna fuck up. I'm gonna fuck up. I fuck up all the time. And then be open to realizing if it when you fuck up and what you did wrong, and just we need to be better and more unified and stand up for those who can't stand up for themselves. And I'm coming from an incredible place of privilege, and I really am aware of that. And even like when I came, my family is lovely, and I have an amazing group of friends, queer and not queer, who I'm very buoyed by. And I just often think of those alone, and families that aren't open and loving and supportive, and I can't imagine the fear and agony. So, my God, you are worth it, and there are people that love you and that will love you, and I just send all good thoughts that you will find them.
yeah, that's good. I love that. That was, a big obstacle for me, and coming out. It was just like all I felt was who could love me? Nobody. Nobody's gonna love me. But it's not true. I have a partner, and he's wonderful, and um, so yeah, and it's never too late to change. It's like it's such a good thing to hang on to. Here I am, an old trans woman. I came out when I was 45. I'm 52 now, and so it's something that it keeps your mind open. It's like we have to always remember that you never stop learning, and you should never stop learning. And when you stop learning, that's when we end up in places where we are um, with a carceral state and a police state that propagates white supremacy. And it's like when people sit here and they say, well, I don't know what defund the police means. It's like, It's because you're lazy and you don't want to know, because the system holds you up. And so, you just gotta Google what does defund the police mean, and you'll see like 80 videos of like people talking righteously about what we need to do as a country to change a system that is disproportionately killing Black people.
And was set up to oppress and deny equality. Like, I can't remember who said it. Somebody was like, the system's not broken. The system's doing exactly what it was set up to do.
Well, that's true. Yeah, good point. Thank you.
No, it's somebody like, I mean, that was that really was like, wow, yeah, and that's right.
What evolution have you seen with the LGBTQ inclusivity and representation in your industry? It's paltry. Paltry. It's terrible. And we need more. We need more queers. We need more trans people. We need more GNC people. It's like, come on. When? When?
I'm not getting an answer, Lil. No. No.
Do better.
Do better. Do. I would like, and then this is often I'm the Pollyanna. I would say, and that's absolutely right. I would also say the fact that a fat queer woman in her 50s can be the lead of a show about her life. That's hopeful, and that there's some opening. It's also a very small step and a huge journey. But I just like, that's my hopeful note. See, I found hope today, Lil.
Look at you.
I know, that's amazing. Okay, let's go.
Okay, what kept you going during the times of uncertainty in your career, and what kind of support helped you find a way forward?
Wow.
Abby McEnany?
Yeah. During times of uncertainty. Well, I got my first job, that like a professional on-camera job at 51 years old. The support I had, I kind of laugh. I think like when I feel like I only know how to do one thing, so I guess that kept me going. I have no other skills, so. How about that for a resume?
Not bad.
Okay, I'll take it.
How do I want to answer that? I'll answer that with defund the police, decriminalize sex work, and decriminalize drugs, and also we've got to abolish the prison system. That's my answer.
I mean, 6 of one, half dozen of the other, Lily.
I don't know. Well, stop killing trans people. Stop killing Black trans women. How about that? Can we start there, please?
Let's start there. And, I just think that the thing about progress is just like, it's becoming more, and it's just, we thought that we were making strides, and now we're back to, it's whatever. We all know. Okay.
So when I was outed by the Daily Mail, I wrote this thing in the local gay newspaper, the Windy City Times, and I have this Jose Munoz quote on my wall, and it was something that I'm still trying to decipher, because it's very, my brain is not big enough. It's a little tiny, and it starts smoking when I try to read the queer theory in it. But it's kind of cool. When I gotta, it's so long. Queerness is essentially about the rejection of a here and now and an insistence on potentiality or concrete possibility for another world. And so like that speaks to my the potentiality of living my truth, and like the potentiality of like people being living in my truth as an example for others to experience that potentiality. And so I don't know if that's what it means, but that's what like one of the takeaways that I get from reading that sentence. And so, you know, in the same way, the like trans me seeing trans people help me get out of the closet and find the courage. And that courage is like such a fucking hard thing to do. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm so scared all the time of
Yeah.
everything, and like I don't know where courage comes from. I don't even know if I have it. It's just like,
It,
what is the option besides being, you know,
yeah.
it's death. So it's like I have to try.
And I would say, you know, I think it's because Lily, I think you know this. I find you so courageous and brave, and I often call Lily my warrior because she just has my back 1,000%. You know, in this new world that I was privileged enough to join of television last year, and so it's funny, like, you know, somebody was like, "Oh, you're so brave, Abby." I'm like, I'm a fucking scared chicken shit. I feel nervous all the time, and but I look at you, Lily. I think you're the most courageous person I know. So, well, thanks for nothing, McEnany. All right.
We're talking about a very small pool of people.
I only know two people. The other one's a huge coward. I guess that's where we're going from.
Okay, what else we got here?
We got this. This is to you, Lily.
You've always been at the forefront of progressive storytelling. What kind of impact can these stories have on people and this community? Well, you know, it's yeah, I don't know. You never know what's going to happen when you make a piece of art and you put it out into the world, and like how it's going to be misinterpreted by people. And
Whatever do you mean?
yeah, and but that's like, you know, when you, I mean, art is like you have to let go of it. It's like it goes out in the world and you can't control what people are going to do with it or what they're going to say with it. And that's okay, because it's like part of like a larger, we're just like these tiny threads in this larger, you know, tapestry of our lives. And, you know, the human struggle is like, it goes back through history, and I don't know, all the stuff that influences me as an artist, and you know, exponentially it goes back and back and back. And so like you never know what kind of impact you're going to make. And you know, one thing that is like super gratifying to me as like having been a part of, you know, films that um um, you push the boundary of science fiction and action and all this stuff. How many trans people come up to me and tell me how important those films were, and the idea of um, transformation and like claiming your identity, and it was something that I guess that I had even written or participated in the writing of, um, for my own transformation. I had to like write it and invent it so that I can use it as like this handhold to get my ass out of the closet. And so, you know, that is that's like super gratifying. And I don't know. The end.
How do you continue to create and express yourself even in times of adversity? Figuring it out. I mean, I gotta say, I don't, sometimes I don't. How about that?
Yeah, it's hard to put shit into perspective when you've got what we're dealing with out there
Yeah.
right now. It's
Yeah.
like there is no other. This is the struggle right now. Where we
Right.
are right now is, you know, Americans.
Right. I
It's yeah,
and I think that goes to like why it was, we had a lot of conversations about whether or not we were going to do this because
yeah,
the adversity and yeah, I mean, it's like I got out of bed today. Well, that's pretty good. Um,
yeah. Like one thing that I like have been thinking about is like, you know, uh, there was like something that was disappointing to me when there was like mm, big chunks of community were coming out to clean up the looting and the graffiti and stuff like that. There was a part of me that was like, no, we need to keep that stuff there and preserve it because it is a symbol of the rage that we're all feeling. And it's like one thing that like you keep hearing like the caution of let's not let this die down. And I think like preserving that rage. I just wanted like crews to come in with just plexiglass and cover up all of the graffiti, all of the. I mean, because that is art. It is an artistic expression to like throw a brick, that is a form of creation, even if there's like a cool Gwendolyn Brooks line that um Bill Ayers like would recite to. I heard him recite a couple of times, and it's about um I can't remember the poem, but it's about I will create a whole. And I think that is like super important to remember. Like we need to like memorialize the red paint that is like covering the Columbus statue right now down in Grant Park. I think that like that form of art is super important because it's a part of a dialogue that we're having as a society. And so I don't know.
that's really, I think also it's like it's so once we clean things up, then it's like it never happened. I think I mean,
Mm-hmm.
with all the stuff that's happened, I mean, there's been so many black
Yeah,
folks killed by police, and
yeah,
then there'd be so many, and then it'd be like it kind of got into those mass shootings. It's like, oh, another one. Like it's
yeah,
just like it's the fact that we're just numb to tragedy and inequality is made easier because we erase it and we forget it.
yeah,
We don't keep it alive. So that's
yeah.
that's really fascinating.
Yeah, it's like the capitalist um, instinct to let's all go back to normal. Let's open the economy.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we want to deal with this rage here. This is important shit. Let's not cover that up just yet, people. So, okay. How do you empower other people in your community, either inside or outside the entertainment industry?
I would hope that people the way that we're going to see more queer stories and more black stories and more non-binary stories and more gender non-conforming stories and more trans stories and more uh, people who are in like poor stories and all the others that are shunned
Yeah,
aside by not only our communities but by Hollywood. How that changes is by hopefully like let's start telling our stories. And I myself was very lucky, like Lilly came on board to this show, and that's why I get to be on Showtime. It's because Lilly Wachowski decided to come out of retirement, I'm always like, I'm really sorry about that, Lily, to come and help me tell my story. And so, but that wouldn't have happened unless I started telling my story. I don't know. I just hope the way that we get the stories should be told by people who are living them. You know, we other people should not be telling our stories. So I would just hope that, and I got to say, I did not do it on my own, right? Like it took a figurative village to make this happen. And there's so many people from the very beginning that were involved. And again, that is privilege. I'm aware of that, but that's how I think we're going to start seeing more, as if.
Yeah. Yeah. I also would say that it's like important not to tokenize those people either. It's like if you have commitment to, if you have commitment to diversity, if you have commitment to empowering people, you should be putting them in your shows. And that's something that we try to do on Work in Progress, so that you had queer people, you had trans people, you had GNC people playing parts that it wasn't integral to the story. So
Right.
you have Lyft drivers and bartenders and ministers, all waitresses played by trans folk, GNC folk, and queer people. And like, that's a thing, because it's like they're all actors and they all need to work too. So, like a studio can't just say, oh, well, we've got a gay show. We already have that. We already have that fat person show. So we don't need another fat person on our show. And so it's like, that just propagates the system where it's set up. It's like, no,
Right.
this is what the world looks like.
Right.
There are trans people, there are queer people, there are non-binary people that you're rubbing up against every single day, and
Yeah.
we're here. We're not going anywhere. So why don't you just let us in?
Right.
You fucking
Fuckers.
bastards.
I think also I always say that this show is top to bottom filled with unpalatable queers for America, right? I'm not a palatable queer, and many people who are cast in our shows are not palatable queers for America. So
Yeah.
that, and also this is not Hollywood queers. This is, in my humble opinion, this is what queers look like and sound like, and that is
that's really interesting. That's so cool. I love that idea. It's like, wait, I've got a prop.
No way! Oh my Lord!
Wait a minute, I gotta find it.
You got you humans use alls. Everybody chill out. Lily's got a prop. Oh, it's a poster?
Yeah.
Or a scroll.
It's a poster. So when I was in art school, just this like 3 years ago, I had this, because I had this experience of being outed in the Daily Mail. There was like, when right afterwards I came to the GLAAD Awards back when we got an award for Sensate, one of my many awards. It's a major award. So Sensei got an award for like best show, dramatic show or something. And it was the first time being in the public for me, in front of, as Lilly Wachowski, and the type that there was, I walked a photography line, and it was like very distressing, and I was like very serious looking. But it's funny because the photographs that started showing up of me on this red carpet were just like the worst fucking photograph. I was so horrible looking. I was like, oh my God, why did they choose that photograph? And it like has to do with transphobia. It's like they chose that photograph on purpose because that's what they think of me. And so I wanted to make a piece of art out of it, and I grabbed the photograph. It was like the first thing that you Google when you see me, and I blew it up really big, and I was like, I have to do something with this. And this is the photograph, and I'll just back up. Dun, dun, dun. The trans person's coming for you and your children. It's like, oh, how could you choose a worse picture, you fucking bastards?
Oh God.
So whoever's out there who took this picture, I blame you. The trans mafia is coming to get you.
That is so hilarious. That is so hilarious. Hey, Lily, you're not going to believe this, but we went over our 15-minute allotment.
What?
I know.
I'm quite sure it was only like 3 minutes.
That's right. I think, economy of words is my forte. So yeah, it probably to everybody else seemed like 2 seconds, but hey, to my love and my warrior and my friend, and thank you for doing this with me, and thank you. I can't thank you enough for you, and you are courageous, whether or not you want to believe it. So thank you, Lily. You've changed my life, and you've changed so many people's lives, and I'm honored to be your friend. So thank you.
Thank you, Abby. I'm so honored to be your friend too. And I'm so, I always say that we've got to wrap our arms around each other and hold each other up. And I firmly believe that. And I'm glad that you're holding me up, and I'm glad that I can do the same for you because I love you so much. And yeah. So thanks for having us.
Thank you. Thank you.